Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for this second part. Hopefully you'll continue to stick with me, and let's not waste any time and let's crack on. So if you remember last time, we wireframed out our navigation on the top and the side. We need to obviously do some more work here. Remember, we're just wireframing this out at the minute. We're not trying to integrate this in with the full app, but when we're done, we can copy this and then we can start to do that. One of the things we probably need to start with right now is styles, okay, because we need to look at how we're going to style this app. So we can do it the QuickBooks way. The bloody thing's asking me to sign in again. Hopefully that's right. Okay, so we're going to do it the QuickBooks way. Let's just see if there's any information online that tells us whether or not. So let's just straightforward, what font does QuickBooks online news? Okay. Let's have a look. It's saying the desktop was Arial 10 point. Let's see. Well, let's just try that out and let's see if it looks right. So if we go back in here, let's use our consultancy one. Let's remove the style. Okay, let's set the font to Arial 10. Well, that's too small, isn't it, in general? Let's set it to like 12. Do we bold it? Well, let's set the font weight. Does it look like QuickBooks? Okay, that's obviously, it does actually look like Arial. So let's just increase the size to say 14. Does that look like it? I'm not sure. Anyway, I don't like it, that's for sure. I don't like the font. So I'll tell you what, let's just do a little bit more investigation. Which font is used in QuickBooks Online? Okay, we're still getting that being sold. Add fonts. How do I somehow choose the right font for your font size QuickBooks? Let's see if this has anything. Oh yeah, I just saw something about typography guidelines there. Just hang on a second. Let's have a look into it. New design system. Let's see. Okay. Nope, they're not using Arial. They're using GeoGrotesque. So GeoGrotesque, is that even a thing? Let's have a look. We might not be able to replicate it if it's kind of their own type of font. Let's give it a go though. No, there isn't such a thing as GeoGrotesque. Okay, it's certainly not that one. Okay, so the one everyone loves at the minute is Inter. Okay, so we're going to go with that. Okay, so if you want to implement something else to make it look more like QuickBooks, then that's entirely for you. Let's see, they've got Avenir next. Now probably that is one if you wanted to use that. Let's just find this out. This is just the kind of stuff that you've got to do really if you're trying to copy someone else's system. Avenir. No, I thought that was quite is it this one? Averia? No, doesn't look it. Anyway, we're going to stick with Inter for our app. Okay, so let's then, I mean, we've got all this stuff. I'm not even going to bother with it. In fact, at the next break, in the next break between videos, I'm going to get rid of all the default styles completely. So I'm going to create a new style, and I'm just going to call this one let's call it subheader. Okay, subheader, and let's call it left. I know some people don't like to use justifications within the styles, and they like to use sort of BB codes and stuff like this. BB codes can trip you up sometimes, so I'd rather stay clear of them. So enter 614 pixels. The color doesn't matter because we'll be getting into that late in a while. However, what I will do is just for now is use our little pipette thing and pick up the color that they're using. Where are we? Is that right? That looks more like it. So let's just copy this. Okay, and let's go into our app and paste this in for now. Okay, it'll do for now as our default. Okay, so right, that's that. So back in our design, we're happy with that. So again, styles are going to be really important as we go forward, and we're going to cover that in a sec. Just one thing I wanted to mention about this one in here, I realized that I'd probably not made the right choice with this, with the space around, because what's going to happen now, I've set it as a percentage of the of it. So if you imagine if this is a big wide screen like this, what's going to happen is it's going to kind of like, that's going to go there, and they're all going to be spaced out in this whole big space here. So probably not the right choice for that one. So what I'm going to do then is rather than, we'll still leave the space between, but what I will do is actually set it to a fixed width of, let's say 140. Would that do it? No. Let's say 180. Would that do it? Probably not. In fact, let's go for 280. Okay, because one or two of them, we want plenty of space between them, that's for sure. And one or two of them are, well, at least one of them is going to have a caption. So I'll tell you what, let's go for 260, and then that'll do. Okay, so that way they're not going to be, it's not going to be spread out completely, and all of these are going to be spread across a huge chunk of the page, which is going to be really confusing. Right, okay, so now let's turn to this one. Let's turn to the main navigator bar. So you've got the logo at the top, so what we'll do, we'll just stick an image in for that. Before we do that, let's set some padding on the of 10 all around. Okay, yeah, I mean, Bubble recently have added this to be able to set paddings on the style, which actually we might, because we know this is going to be a one-off, we might actually do. So let's have a look here under our appearance. Yeah, hang on, have I picked the wrong one? I need to pick the floating group, don't I? So sorry about that. So I need to go into the actual element tree to get it. So let's have a look. Okay, so we're going to say edit style for this rather than that, and we're going to set the padding, let's say 10 and 10. This is a fairly new thing that I think I've only used very briefly, but I'm not too worried because we know that we've set up a style, and it's only going to really be used on this, so we can just put some padding in there. Actually, what I will do there is on the top, I'll just make that a little bit bigger, 20 and 20, to give us a bit more space at the top. Okay, is that about right, or is that no, they don't like too much space at the top. Okay, let's edit that again for the 5th time. I'll tell you what, we'll compromise at 15. Yeah, we in QuickBooks will compromise at 15. That's good enough. So we're going to need an image which is going to contain our logo. Okay, right, we need to actually fire that off onto there. Main nav placeholder has now got something in it. So I really love this drag and drop, so you can sort of drag it from one group or container to another. I really like that. Okay, so let's select the image. There we go. Right, now the FG is actually still set to align to parent. I'm going to change that to be a column. Okay, and then I'm going to center it horizontally. That's great. I'm going to set it to a fixed width, which is, I'm just going to set it to 100%, and then we can deal with it later on, because we don't know, because this is going to be a fixed image, it's going to be our logo. So keep it aspect ratio, that would be jolly nice. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll set the height first of all though. I don't think we're going to be able to keep that, so it's going to be a fixed height, and let's say that that's going to be, I don't know, let's say 36. Is that good enough? Yeah, good enough. Excuse me. So next thing then is the button, this big button here. That's fairly straightforward to do. The roundness is probably about 20 around the edges. Obviously they get that hover effect. So I would imagine that's quite a thing in QuickBooks, this style of button. But we don't need to sort of give it a background colour, because we can just leave it transparent, because it just folds into its... It's not actually particularly clever design at all, to be honest. So let's whack a button on. I'll tell you what we'll do, just before we do that, sorry, is we'll do space between on our main group here. Apply space between elements, and the row that we're going to do is, let's say, we'll say it's like 14, and that way we're not having to set margins between each one. So when we drag in the button, it should sort of space it for us a little bit. Okay, what's happened? Oh, okay, I need to drag it back into here. There we go, that's more like it. So did we actually name that? We didn't. Okay, I tend to call images MIMG, so you know what they are, and I'm just going to call that logo. I mean, we're struggling to spell logo right today. So the button, again, the styling is atrocious, so we're going to remove the style completely from that. And let's have a look what we can do with this. So we're going to, the background style is none, like I say, because we're going to do that. The border is going to be, it's actually quite a thick border. It's actually probably like 2, and then goes to like 4 when you hover over it. So let's have a look. So it's going to be solid. Roundness is going to be 20, I think that's where we need to do that. The background style is going to be, sorry, my bad, I told you it's going to be Watts and all this. Right, I'm actually editing the image there. You're probably screaming at me, weren't you? So let's go to the button. Why can't I actually select the button? There we go. Right, so let's, what's it called? New, and a plus symbol, couple of spaces, and then new. Okay, right. let's remove it. We know that we want our font to be Inter. Okay, and we don't need it that big, it's not too big. Okay, we don't need it to be 700, maybe 500 would be enough, do you think? 500, yeah, okay. Looks to be some letter spacing involved in that, which we don't want. Is that too closed up? No, we'll leave it as it is. Right, background colour, none. Okay, so we're just going to make that. The background, sorry, border style, solid. Roundness is going to be 20. Okay, and the width of the board is going to be that, and it looks like it's just a white one. Again, let's use our little pipette tool to find out. Yeah, it's just white. Okay, so no problem with that. Let's just change that to FFFFFF. Okay, width wise, it looks like it's sort of spreading the whole span minus the padding, so we'll just give that a width of 100%. Okay, is that too big, do you think? Probably. So that means we probably need to add more padding onto our main group. So let's just edit the style. Where are we? There we go. So left. Okay, let's make that 15. Okay, and that's more like it, I think. Let's just see. Is it right? It doesn't look to be as high, so we need to sort of make that. Where are we? There's a button. The height is probably more like 32 or something like that. We want it to be fixed. No, it needs to be bigger than that. 36. What do you think? I think probably the width of it probably could do with being bigger as well. That's more like it, isn't it? We're getting there. Okay, it's still not as wide, so maybe rather than keep adjusting the padding, maybe we'll just make the width to be, let's say, 86% and center it. Is that more like it, do you think? Well, let's make it 92%. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, we're getting there anyway. So so let's have a look at that. So sorry, we need to be on the button. There we go. Keep pressing it twice. Okay, does probably the actual text needs to be bigger, does it? We'll leave it as it is for now. So that's good. So when we're hovering that, what we need is for the box style, we don't need any of that, but what we do need, because when we're hovering over that, nothing changes, but the border becomes a lot thicker. So let's just change that. So let's say border width. I think we want border width all borders, and let's change that to, like, it seems to like be quite a lot actually when you hover over it. We can only see that when it's running, but that would probably actually do it, to be honest, I think. Okay, I am just gonna add a little bit more on this, on the actual excuse me, with the row gap. I'm just going to increase that to 18, I think, because there is a bigger space, I think, between the two. Again, this can all be adjusted, but we're just wireframing things out at the minute, as I keep saying. So cool. Right, one thing I've noticed, which was a bit of a schoolboy error, is that when I thought I was changing the name of the image and ended up changing the name of the group. So I'm going to need to change this back. So I called this G main nav place holder, I think, as I remember. I hope we haven't changed too much when I was playing around thinking I was altering an image. There we go. Okay, so image logo. Okay, right. So what we need to do now, just going back to our button, is we need to name it. So I just give it a B to let me know it's a button, and I'm going to call it nav new. Okay, and we've set up all our styles, including our hover condition. We could set up, if you like, because okay, so what we can do then is we've set that style up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new style, and I'm going to just call this standard. Well, I'll just call it standard button, because it's not got a background color. We can then use that on everywhere where we can need a transparent button. So we'll just call it standard. Okay, and that's got everything in there for us. So the next thing that we need to do then is obviously put the actual navigator options on there. Okay, now the way that I'm going to do this in Bubble is to set up an option set and have a repeating group whose data source is the option set, and that way we don't have to sort of create these from scratch. Okay, we can deal with like the sub menus and things. I don't like the sub menus in this, to be honest with you. Really don't. So, but just to get the main options in for now, as we're wireframing this out, is just to get them off an options group, an options set, sorry, and then just populate a repeating group so that we're not having to put all of these in each and every one. And I am going to also be putting an image by the side of each one, because I don't like it not having an image. It goes against the grain. I think people are used to seeing an image, and it's nice to get people used to also just recognizing pictures as well as words. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to pick up a repeating group. I'm going to drag it on there, and it's probably going to do what it did to me before, which is put it on the group behind rather than the, there it, yeah, it has done. rather than on the actual floating group there. So there we go. So let's just, again, we'll name it, okay, RG nav, and let's have a look at the settings here. Width is going to be fixed width, we're going to set it to 100%, and min height, there is no min height, let's just, yeah, okay, we can leave it like that. Let's say it's 250 instead. The cells container layout is probably more like going to be a row, because you will get an image and then some text. Okay, so what we need to do then is just create the options set. So like I say, we're wireframing, so I don't want to get too deep into this until we get going properly, but let's just set up a quick options set. So what we will do there, if you're not used to option set is like it's almost like a database table, but it's static. So in other words, you set it up in your system and then you can use it throughout. So it just means it's better than just having ad hoc text or data lying about. You can have a list. If you're used to programming, it's like a bit like enumerated types. So let's just call this, I'm going to call it nav options. Okay, and actually I've gone against the grain there. I always put an underscore before my option set so I can differentiate what's an option set and what is a data type when I'm selecting them. And again, no need to put plurals in there. So first option is going to be dashboard, and then it's going to be banking, and then it's going to be, remember, like a sieve, sales, there we go. And then I do believe this next one is customers and leads, and leads. Okay, right, so what we can do then in here is we can say the type of content is going to be nav option, and the data source is going to be all nav options. Okay, and that way we're just going to pull these in. So let's just for now pop a text in there. So let's just pop that there. Where's it gone? Okay, can I drag it into there? No, I'm going to have to drag it into nav. There we go. Okay, right, so let's just put T for text, and it's going to be option name. I'm just going to, yeah, nav option name. Okay, and this time we're going to insert dynamic data display. The only place we're going to do that while we're looking at this. So what we'll do, we'll select the, which one was it, subheader left, and we'll remove the style. And what we'll do, we won't have it as 14, we'll have it as 12. We don't need it that big. Let's set it for 700 though. No line spacing. We need to change the colour here. Now, like I say, this is not how we're going to do it in the future. Okay, so that's white. Let's see if we're on the right track. Pretty much. So in the repeating group, there's no margins, but there's no padding, so we will just, for now, we'll just set some margin. Okay, just to give it a little bit of space in between. Okay, and probably what we can do now is just have a look at this. Let's close that one. Let's just have a look at this. Set the debug mode off because I don't like it. Right, okay, so we've got some idea of what's going on. We can definitely take the separato out of the repeating group. Where are we? Oh, okay, it's styled it. So no repeat, no separato. We don't want a fixed set of rows. We do want a fixed set of columns, which is 1. Okay, and the layout. Okay. There we go, min row. We definitely don't want it as 100, we probably want it at like 36 or something at the most, maybe a bit more. 38. Well, no, because it displays them on two lines, so it makes it look bad. Let's actually probably go to 30 with that one. Let's refresh. Okay, bits close together. Right, that way too much on there. Let's try and adjust that one. We're going to have to edit the style, the conditional. Okay, probably 5 would do it, I would imagine. And let's just increase these by on the repeating group. Let's say 36. Okay, and let's give that another go. It's probably still too much, isn't it? Where's QuickBooks? Yeah, probably still too much. Yeah, okay, I think what we're doing is we're making it I think we're making it too much. The width doesn't need to be 3. It can start off with 2 and then we can do 4, and then that might do it for us. Yeah, it feels more like it, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, more or less. More or less. So about these options here, dashboard, banking, sales. Yeah, I mean the text needs to be bigger and a little bit more space. We can do the hover in a sec. So the text needs to be bigger. So if I can select it, there we go. So the font can be, let's go for 13, and that's 13, probably big enough. Okay, and maybe a little bit more space. Let's go to 38. Okay, this is just all playing around. Obviously if you were doing your own design you could do it however you want, and probably we will look to play around with things. Okay, I'm just looking at the alignment. Is QuickBooks aligning that with the edge? Yeah, I mean we're pretty good. We probably these are too close to there, so probably what we need to do with the we've already got like a on the here we've already got a row gap, but then that if we increased it that would change everything else, which I don't want to do. So what we'll do, we'll just add a bit more margin on the top. Let's say change that to 10. Okay, and that's, we'll send it a little bit lower. It might just give us that little bit extra that we need. Okay, that'll do. And just to finish us off with this bit, let's have a look at the hover. The hover is in black. Actually the colour of the option isn't white if it's not selected, so let's get our little pipette again and let's find out what's going on with that. It probably is the same as the other one, but let's just check it out. I think it's that one, so let's copy this one. Okay, and let's set the colour instead of white. Yeah, so we need to set that to white. This should be in a group. Okay, so what I'm going to do, instead of doing that, I'm going to put it into a row container. Okay, and okay, let's name this. So group G, we're going to say nav option. Okay, and we need to go back on here and then add that as a condition, but this time we will say parent groups, sorry, when gnav option, we'll say when gnav option is hovered, then we can set the font color to white. Okay, and so with the repeating group, we've got this padding, which we don't actually need now. We've got the group, so we can certainly keep the bottom and the top, but the right and the left, we can actually put it on our group instead. So rather than put it on the repeating group, we just put it in the group that's in the cell, which is going to contain our options. So left is going to be 10, right is going to be 10. Okay, and that's probably going to be good enough. What has it done to me? Right, okay. Remove. I need to remember to move the style when I'm doing this, because it will 10. Okay, so on the group as well, we also need to have a conditional that when the group is hovered, so when this group is hovered, what we need to do is to change the background. We need to change the background style to solid, a flat color, and I think it's black. It looks like it's black when you hover over it. So let me get my little pipette again and make sure it is. It seems a little bit unimaginative to have it in completely black. It is, it's just black. I mean, it's very unimaginative of them really to do that. They have their reasons, I suppose. We will change it anyway, but for now we're just trying to wireframe. Keep saying it. So there's our group flat color, and so we can say background color is going to be 0000, which is black, like the night. And okay, so let's give that a go. Let's see if this is going to work for us. Yeah, change color. Okay, it doesn't look that attractive, does it? So right, so this is where we've got a little bit of an issue with our padding here, because let's see what happens when they. Yeah, you see, it goes from left to right completely, so it means we can't really put padding where we had it. So we're kind of going to have to play the game a little bit. So what we're going to do is our main floating group actually can't have any padding in it, so we're going to have to edit the style, and we're going to have to say left and right is 0. That's going to bugger things up a little bit because that's going to make that massive, but what we can do there is, let's say, put that down to 82%. Yeah, it's okay. And this is full width, everything's full width now. But what we can do is in the group is we can put the padding in there. So what we can do, the padding can now be, let's say, set it to 20 instead, just as an example. Okay, and let's see if that's a bit more like it. Yeah, kinda. So what we need to do first of all is to center this into the middle, and we've got something going on the edge here. So I must have I kept something top left, nav option 20 and 20. Have I still got something left on there? No. Okay, let's have a look. Still nothing. Okay, have we got a margin set on something? Let's have a look. Okay, min width. So oh yeah, okay, right, we haven't actually set the width of this. This needs to be 100% to make sure it stretches right across its container, which is the nav, the floating group nav bar. Okay, so let's have a look at that. Okay, yeah, that's more like it. Has it centered it? I don't think it's centered it, so let's have a look. Vertical alignment. The group needs to be centered. The group needs to be centered. Okay, so let's give that a go. No, but it's still not worked. Okay, what's pushing it upwards? Min height. Nav option. No, I don't think that's the problem. So, okay. So the minimum, sorry, when we're on our repeating group, the minimum height is 36. What about the group? Well, that's got to be a maximum of 36 as well. Can't be bigger than the in fact, what we can do is just set that to 100%, so it just fills its container. Make it fixed width. Right, so what we've got to do with this one on the text is we need to tell it to, yeah, there we go, center the text vertically. That's what we needed to do it. Okay, so back in this, let's see if that's worked. Yeah, that's worked fine. Okay. Yeah, and then yeah, that looks pretty good as far as we can see. Okay, I mean obviously they pop out their menus. We're not going to be doing that in this wireframe. So I think we're done with this part of it. We've got the wireframe, we've got everything done in there. We've got a repeating group. So what I would like to do is just maybe create a bit more space. Let's up that to 40. And let's give us a bit more space between the options. Yeah. Okay, so okay, we're getting somewhere now. So the next quick job we're going to do before we finish this video off, because we are running quite late, is to actually copy all of this into our main app page, because we've done what we needed to do. Now we've still got to give the icons names, we've still got to put the image in, but it's all there, it's all ready to go. We just need to pop it in there. Before we do that, I just want to make sure that with this particular text that we do actually save it the style, so that it all gets fed through, so we can reuse it. And we're just going to call this one, what we'll do, we'll just call it standard left. Okay, and if we need to change it or whatever, we can do. So let's create that. Right, and on our app page we can just delete that. Delete page app, and what we can do then is add a new page, call it app, and we're going to clone it from our wire page. Okay, and right away we've now got our app. We've got some issues, and that is all. The issues are basically we haven't given these icons a name yet, so that's something that we'll do in the next video. But if we just run our main app page, we should get exactly the same thing as what we did, taking off the debug mode, just so we can properly see it. Make sure everything's come through. Yeah, everything's come through nicely. So we're good to go at the minute. So look, this is a good place to end this one. So we'll come back in the next one and we'll start putting logos, put these images in, use Iconify, start to add the option in here properly, put some icons next to them because I prefer that rather than QuickBooks' style, and really start get going with this navigation in the next one. We're styling everything out. Okay, so thanks again for watching this far. Really appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, take it easy.